When it comes to epic chokes, there are two sets of numbers that everyone knows: 35-3 and 28-3. But in a remarkable confluence of events, we have a new most epic airway blockage in NFL history. One that brings it all together into a layered sandwich so chock full of bad decisions and panic that we have to eat it one savory bite at a time. This is the full analysis of how the Colts blew a 33-point lead, the largest in NFL history. Let me guess, you're at your desk when you should be working. Well, I have a way for you to be productive. How about you figure out how to eat healthy and save time without breaking the bank? That's where Factor comes in. With Factor, healthy, delicious meals are delivered right to your door with no prep and no mess. Plus, they cut out stressful meal planning and tedious shopping trips. And you can change your order up every week or pause and reschedule when you're out of town on some dumb work trip. Factor now offers 34 different meals per week and 36 plus add-on options like smoothies, juices, and snacks. And there's complete dietary systems, whether it's keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, protein plus, vegan or veggie, it's all here. It's all easy. So after this video, head to go.factor75.com/5.60 and use code 5.60 to get 60% off your first box. Again, that's go.factor75.com/5.60 from the link below and use code 5.60 to get 60% off your first box. Headed into their Week 15 matchup with the Vikings, the Colts were in a much different position than their opponents. Losers of 3 in a row, a 4-8-1 record, and in position for a top 10 pick in next year's draft. The Vikings came in at 10-3 with a chance to clinch the NFC North with a victory. All the math on earth said this would be an easy win for the purple and gold. And according to this graphic, Jeff Saturday would be the first coach named Saturday to coach on a Saturday. He's also the only NFL coach to ever be named after a day of the week. I'm mentioning this because Saturday was hired by Jim Irsay after he fired Frank Reich, the man who led the Bills in their 35-3 comeback against the Oilers in 1993. His QB today, Matt Ryan, whose team blew the 28-3 lead in Super Bowl 51. So you know the game was cursed from the start, I guess. 33-0. At the start, everything went the Colts' way. The opening kick was run back to midfield, but they ended up settling for a field goal. From here, shit went bad for the Vikes. Blocked punt, TD. Dalvin Cook chased a 40-yard run with a fumble. The Colts marched down the field for another TD, 17-0, and it's still the first quarter. Faced with a 4th down on his own 31, Kevin O'Connell decided to go for it and was stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey, 20-0. The Vikes looked like they had learned from their mistakes next when faced with another 4th and 1 from their own 31. The punt team came out and another field goal, 23-0. 2 drives later, on his own 12, Kirk Cuzzo throws an easy pick 6 to Julian Blackmon and the route is on, 30-0. Now what you see on the play art here is that the Colts are playing man coverage with a single safety high. Cousins actually has Adam Thielen 1v1 but panics under the pressure of DeForest Buckner beating his man at the line. He also either makes a terrible throw or Jalen Reagor is supposed to be running a curl instead of a slant. Either way, yikes. And finally, after a long, intelligent drive to end the half, the Colts split the uprights again for a 33-0 lead amid a chorus of purple boos. The box score doesn't tell the complete story here though. The Vikings were getting robbed by the refs like a poor person in Mississippi by Brett Favre. With 6:53 left in the first half, Michael Pittman clearly fumbled in what looked like a scoop and score, but the refs ruled forward progress. Sus. A Vikings long kick return was wiped out by a phantom face mask call. The comeback. After Vikings fans drank Everclear straight from the bottle, the second half started with what every team down bad needs, the ball. And the Vikings went 3 and out. After a Colts punt, the Vikings put together a drive thanks in part to soft zone coverage. The Colts went back to man down at the goal line and it cost them 33-7, the lead down to 27 with 8:26 left in the third. After a long kickoff return and good field position, the Colts once again settled for a field goal from Chase McLaughlin, who for the game was 5 for 5 on field goals in from 26, 28, 49, 27, and 52 yards. And here's where the tide turns. If you have a big lead, there are 2 things you need to have happen: seconds to run off the clock and the other team not to score. It's as simple as that. CJ Ham, touchdown in less than 4 minutes. 3 and out. With 12:53 left in the game, Justin Jefferson finds the end zone, 36-21, and just like that, it's a 2-possession game. With 8:09 left, Cousin throws an interception trying to go for it all, and you think the game is finally over. But instead, the Colts come out passing and 3 and out. They punt, short field, short drive, touchdown, 36-28. But the bullshit wasn't over from the refs. The Colts finally got a first down and burned some clock, only to fumble and watch Minnesota scoop and score and pull within 2. What? This was ruled down by contact and a penalty on Minnesota? Some of that gets corrected, but the TD is off the board and the Vikings end up turning it over on downs after going for it on 4th and 15. Surely this game has to be over, right? 2:52 left, the Colts get a first down, but Moss can't stay in bounds. But with 2:31 left in the game, the Colts faced a 4th and 1 on the Minnesota 36. This would be a 54-yard field goal. Chase McLaughlin is 16 for 17 from 50 plus, and his career long is 57, which he hit just last year. So what does Jeff Saturday do? Go for it. Why not? And of course they don't get it, which leads to the next play. Fuck you, Colts. Tie game. In fact, both teams have the ball one more time before overtime, where they also traded possessions and then finally ended on a Greg Joseph 40-yarder. The biggest choke in NFL history was now complete. Analysis. This game has a bunch of things common in huge chokes, but some unusual ones too. The first ingredients of the shit sandwich are rapid scores, either on turnovers or on special teams. The Colts got 2 TDs in which their offense didn't even have to take the field, a block punt which lasted all of 12 seconds and a pick 6 which lasted 11 seconds. Additionally, the Colts got 2 field goals off of drives that started inside the Vikings 31, and that only totaled an additional 3:23 off the clock. That's 20 free points with less than 4 minutes of possession. Their good fortune in the beginning would very much work against them for 2 reasons. Their offense was already being shown to be inept against the Vikings D. Them being stopped was inevitable. Secondly, quick scores like that leave the opposition time, and had the Colts put the game away with TD drives instead of short field goals, the deficit would have been too much, with too little time left. And if you don't think a 33-point lead was enough, well, did you watch the game? Next, we have to tackle their atrocious offensive decision-making in the second half. The Colts had the ball 8 fucking times, with no drive lasting more than 6 plays, and only 1 resulted in points. After they got their 36-7 lead, these are how long the drives lasted. 106, 2 minutes 27, 56 seconds, 2:05, 24, and 1:05. This against a bottom-tier Minnesota defense. When you look at how much time comes off the clock with 3 kneel downs, which is 2 minutes 15 seconds, they would have killed nearly 5.5 minutes more of game clock had they simply gotten the V formation and kneeled. Guess what? The Vikings scored 2 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes of the game. Let me say that again. The Colts offense would have been better off simply kneeling. Now, the defense. In the first half, Kirk Cousins was sacked 5 times. In the second half, only 2. The Colts chose to back off and play a mix of soft zone and off man. In the first half, they chose to have just 4 pass rushers and got away with it. In the second half, they got burnt. It didn't matter what coverage they called, but it was clear whatever aggressiveness they had in the first half was gone. Giving up a 1-play score is also a crucial ingredient to a massive choke job, and you can clearly see they are in soft zone trying to defend a screen to Dalvin Cook. Prevent defense prevents winning. What's really strange about this game was the Vikings survived both a pick and a turnover on downs, usually killers for a team trying to make a huge comeback that has to be perfect. That points back to the Colts' offense and their horrible quick drives sabotaging their defense. The true reason, let's be real, did the Colts even want to win this game? Following a turnover on downs, the Glue Factory had a 4th and 1 on the Vikings' 36-yard line. Passing up the field goal, Jeff Saturday chose to go for it. Really? The one thing that could spell the loss for your team, and you decide to do it. Of course they didn't get it. I don't hate the play call, but their luck had run out at that point. It was a terrible decision and points back to the guy making the choices who has no business being being there. And that's by design, as Jim Irsay knew this team was going nowhere and fired Frank Reich because he wouldn't do dumb things like blow a 33-point second half lead. Decisions like putting Matt Ryan back in the lineup, who unfortunately has a penchant for making bad play clock decisions with leads late, led to this outcome. Only owners understand the value of losing. Players and coaches always play to win. So this one's on Irsay. The Colts got every break they possibly could and still lost. And so 35-3 and 28-3 converge in a game with much different stakes and intentions. Congrats, Colts, you choked harder than this.